Yeah.
Let me ask you this final question before we sign off.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've seen Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and we're hearing that Aquaman 2 is not doing great with test screenings.
Yeah.
Are you worried for DC, and are you still excited for The Flash? And welcome to our spoiler discussion for Shazam: Fury of the Gods. And we alluded to earlier, there is a certain spoiler that you will know if you've seen TikTok or Instagram or even the TV spot live.
On TV, they just go ahead and spoil the big cameo. And the big cameo is Gal Gadot returning as Wonder Woman, which is supposed to be so awesome. Even for me, just when I see her on screen, it's like, oh my god, yes, she is our Wonder Woman. But unfortunately, we had some thoughts about it. Amber, go ahead and let us know, what did you think of the cameo?
I think the cameo could have been cool. I have two issues with it. So the fact that they spoiled the cameo in the TV spot
Was dumb.
Undercut all of the tension and gravity of that amazing sacrifice that Billy Batson did at the end. I am so happy that they actually killed him.
Yeah, he had
that was
the
sad.
balls.
That was very ballsy. I'm like, damn. Even for this being the sequel, it's some people say it's probably too early, but I thought yo, if they do a Empire Strikes Back dark ending, and then maybe the Flashpoint is what causes him to come back to life, I would have loved that.
I agree.
But the fact that you know that Wonder Woman is in the movie and you haven't seen her yet,
you're waiting for it.
You're waiting for it the whole movie, and then they do a Deus Ex Machina where Gal Gadot undoes everything.
Yeah. Undoes everything and solves all the other problems. Because, as we mentioned, Billy Batson dies. When she comes, she touches the scepter that the wizard holds. By her touching the scepter, it brings back Billy Batson. It fixes the world tree that was in the realm of the gods, and then there was
gave them all their powers back.
It gave them their powers back. It did all three. It undid all three things that the movie did, and I was like, man.
Especially for Anne, that they ruined what could have been a great kind of closure for her book with Freddy. It's all right, now I'm just a normal person, a normal kid. Now I can just live in high school. Because even we didn't go over this. That was so weird. Why was she going to high school? Was it to find Billy?
I saw it as a spy move.
She was looking for.
I think she was.
But they didn't know Shazam was a kid.
They were looking for the champion.
But why? They didn't know he was a kid though, unless they knew Shazam was hanging out with Freddie Freeman.
That's what I'm thinking. Because he recorded a lot together in the first movie. So I liked her in school, but when you think about it, why is she there? I took it as she was being a spy. Mm-hmm. But just for that Wonder Woman scene, as much as I like Wonder Woman, and I'm telling Amber if her cameo is just to be this insignificant cameo to just undo everything, I'm like, maybe don't even have her in the movie at all.
Powers. Where's everyone going?
To fight crime.
Okay.
Now everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and I'm the only one trying to keep it together.
And it just was an unsatisfying ending, and to me, I was like, man, that's really sad to see. And as much as I love Wonder Woman,
she's a pillar, and she's been great in everything. Even the mediocre 84, Wonder Woman 84, she was still good in that.
Yeah, the problems with Wonder Woman 84 on her, it's on the writing, and I think it's just the direction and the writing of that movie. And
also, I didn't even like we were talking about this earlier. Is even her theme playing
I like that.
You liked that?
I like that.
It felt like an Endgame thing where it's wait for the applause, because when she walks in, it's not like it's a battle, but they play her battle theme.
But that is her theme.
Yeah, but I don't think they needed that because it felt like a fake theater reaction kind of Endgame moment where it's okay, you guys are super excited. Clap now, and it felt disingenuous to me.
Mm-hmm. I think the reason why, if it wasn't spoiled, then it would have been hype. I think having her theme, you just hear her boots, and then you hear the theme, oh my god, that's Wonder Woman, but it could feel disingenuous because they show it in the trailer, so you already know it.
That's true. That could be it.
But to me, I was since I am a fan of her theme, I think that's that is her theme. It worked. I just wish they didn't spoil that, just like Superman and Black Adam.
So what are your thoughts on, I believe Lucy Liu played Calypso, right?
Yeah, Lucy Liu played Calypso, and what I did like about her was she ended up being the most evil sister of the three. Yeah. Helen Mirren surprised me. I thought she was really good. But I think, unfortunately, Lucy Liu, she just felt really one note because it's all about revenge. These wizards took my dad's life and his powers, so I needed...
Which could have been cool.
It could have been cool. It's I'm going to kill the champion, get the powers back. But now she's also saying, I'm going to destroy Earth and every human on it. because of the sins of the wizard. So that to me was just like a generic vengeance story.
Yeah.
And then she was just on a dragon most of it, so it wasn't even really her. It was the dragon as the main villain. That's what I felt.
I don't agree with that, because, I mean, she was still controlling the dragon. She was creating all of this. She planted the seed.
But that's on the apple. That's not even, like, I think, or at least her powers, because her powers were chaos and, like, manipulation.
Oh, yeah, sure. She didn't use her powers as much as she could have.
Yeah.
But then, again, because it would have like, beaten everyone, because it was so powerful that they could have found a different thing to use, because the fact that they showed she had the power of persuasion and they never used it again, it's like...
But they showed Freddy was able to withstand it, so I was like, oh, you can have a really good scene where if she was trying to do it to Shazam, and then him being such pure of heart, he was able to beat her, but they had needed a big dragon set piece. But yeah. Any other thoughts? Actually, there's a question I have to ask you. The post-credit scenes. What do you think of the post-credit scenes?
I thought they were dog shit.
Dog shit.
I thought they were
He said dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even, I know people are going to be, like, roasting James Gunn because, like, oh, he brought his wife into the end credits scene. But aside from all the politics of, like, the Snyderverse versus James Gunn, it just wasn't necessary. And it was, like, just dumb.
I guess
it was dumb.
I think it was goofy, but I feel like all it served was just to know, hey, Shazam is coming back, guys. Don't worry. Yeah. And I was telling him, because we watched it with Alvin, pour one out for Alvin. He didn't make it today. Yeah. But to me, what I felt like was a shot that you don't agree with.
I don't agree with this.
When they have the characters from the Peacemaker team, James Gunn's wife, and then I don't know the guy with the glasses. I haven't seen the show, but they
invite him to be a part of.
They invite him to be a part of the Justice Society and not the Justice League. And I was telling Alvin, I was like, oh, the fact that they didn't give him the status of Justice League, because I believe Shazam to be one of the more popular heroes now in the DC universe, in the cinematic universe. To put him in the Justice Society felt like almost a flip off to Zack Snyder.
Or no, wait, he didn't cast him though.
No, I'm saying in that universe, because in Shazam 1, Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill Superman are both referred to because they have the Batarang and they have toys.
Yeah.
But to me, as I like Zack Snyder, I felt like putting him in the Justice Society rather than the Justice League felt like their way of saying, all right, we're not connecting it to anything of Zack Snyder. And I know Alvin agreed with that. I know you disagree.
I don't agree, because the whole thing was the joke of him being excited of being in the big leagues, and he wasn't. He got rejected. It's like, oh, you're Justice Society. So especially people that don't know the Justice Society, to them, they're like, they would have the exact same reaction as Billy Batson, which I thought that was funny. So he's like, Society, what the hell is the Justice Society? And they're like, oh, it's another team with like smaller heroes. So it's like, it felt very much like almost like a Deadpool kind of joke where it's like, oh, you're part of the X-Men. No, you're a trainee, or you're part of X-Force. So I thought that worked. I don't think it was like a subtle jab at Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder doesn't own Shazam. He doesn't own the DC Universe. No, but he doesn't own Justice League. He does. The Justice League are way bigger than Zack Snyder.
100%. But in the cinematic universe, I think when you hear the Justice League, especially since the movie's called Zack Snyder's Justice League, I think that is the creatives and the people behind the camera saying, oh, we're stepping away from that. At least that's how I feel. Let us know what you guys thought when you saw it. That's what I thought.
Let us know, because we don't see eye to eye on that.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there are more people that do feel that way. That is really strange, because I think it was just a one-off joke. And even I know probably seeing Peacemaker will get people heated, because I know your reaction was like, oh my god, he's going to get roasted. James Gunn.
Oh yeah, when I saw it, because I saw he was tweeting about that, and I was actually on James Gunn's side for this, where everyone was like, oh, your wife better not be in this, your wife better not be in that. And then he was like, oh, she was only cast, the only I cast her in was in the Suicide Squad, everything else she got on her own. But to me, I'm like, oh, seeing her in this movie, I'm like, oh man, he's gonna get blown up for this, because I think when you see that character and you see a lot of other people losing their job, and you end up seeing the main creator of this universe having his wife come in, it does feel a little, I think, sus.
Yeah, it's like there's probably some favoritism at play. But aside from that, there was a second end credit scene with the caterpillar. That was a fun one, because I even said, I was like, oh, it's so weird. They didn't do anything with that post-credit scene.
I forgot it was in the first one. And I was like, what caterpillar are you talking about? I was like, oh, wow, they did. And I don't even know if it's ever going to pay off now.
Which I think they knew that. They were kind of like winking at the first one. They're like, oh, we just went a different direction. But Mark Strong is still in prison waiting for that caterpillar to come back. So I thought that was funny.
I guess if you see it in the form of a joke, then that works, yeah.
Let me ask you this final question before we sign off. now that you've seen Shazam Fury of the Gods, and we're hearing that Aquaman 2 is not doing great with test screenings.
Yeah.
Are you worried for DC, and are you still excited for The Flash?
I am still excited for The Flash, and I think I am worried for DC. I think the whole idea of a universe reset to me feels like a mistake. I think having to get the audiences to care about someone back to level 0. You're going back all the way back to level 0. I think it would have been smarter because James Gunn is a great writer. I think he could have found a way to write better stories with. If Ben Affleck didn't want to be Batman, you can go a different way with Batman. Do it different. It doesn't need to be Bruce. But I think for Henry, if he wants to do it, if Gal Gadot still wants to be Wonder Woman, I think those are great actors. But to start all the way back at ground zero, I think that's a mistake.
Especially with the climate we're in now, which is already feeling that fatigue.
Yeah.
I think no one wants to see an origin story again. So, like,
Which you did mention it wasn't going to be.
Yeah. Which I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not super, I guess, cautious because of James Gunn. I'm more so just worried for the genre of superheroes. I think superhero movies need to evolve and just become more. Because even we're seeing with, like, Phase 5, people are already souring on it, especially with Phase 4. And even with this movie getting rotten, I think we're in an interesting territory. I think
this is for sure the decline of superhero movies.
Yeah.
And I know we've been saying superhero fatigue for a long time, but it's crazy now to see like diehard Marvel fans saying, I'm not gonna watch the show, I'm not gonna watch this, I'm not gonna watch that.
I think FOMO is officially over with Marvel because before, if you missed the Marvel movie in theaters,
you're out of the loop.
Yeah, you were out of the loop and you felt othered.
Excluded.
Yeah, you felt excluded. You felt like you weren't in the conversation. Now I think people are just burnt out. Like after Endgame, they're like, the book's done, and I can understand that because that is very
ended on a high note.
Yeah, exactly. It was 10-year run. It did very well.
Made a boatload of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our thoughts on Shazam: Fury of the Gods. The last thing I do want to say is, if you do like the character Shazam and you do care about these DC movies, do your best to support it in theaters because. If you don't, who knows? Maybe Zachary Levi won't come back as Shazam, and I don't think any of us want that. Yeah. So if you care about the movie, go ahead and see it.
Yeah, I think it, like you said, or we said in our spoiler-free review, it's still a fun movie. If you are, I guess, tedious or kind of, you don't know if you want to watch it in theaters, if you're curious, I say just wait for HBO Max. It's probably going to go on HBO Max shortly after the theater, because, I mean, I know it's really not doing too well. But I think, if it's on HBO Max, you can probably do a triple feature. You can go Shazam, Black Adam, Shazam 2, and that'll be fun. Mm-hmm. But I do think if you are feeling burnt out on superhero movies, just wait for streaming. Mm-hmm. I don't think this one is you have to get out of theaters for it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it is still a fun time. If you liked it, I'm very happy you enjoyed it. Let us know your favorite moment in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on the end credits scene. Or are you still excited for the DC universe? Are you worried for James Gunn coming in?
Yeah, what do you guys think is next? So that's we always want to have a good conversation about DC movies because we all love these characters and we just want the best for the universe.
Exactly. It's been me, Amir.
And it's me, Omid.
Have a good one, guys. See you next time.
See ya.